Rudrahridaya Upanishad. This Upanishad is related to the Krishna YajurVeda. Lord Shiva and Vishnu has been told inseparable and integrate in it. This Upanishad begins in the form of questions and answers which had taken place between the Shukadeva and Vedavyasa. Sri Sukadeva very first has asked Sri Vyasa that who is the greatest god among all gods. Its answers has been given that it is Lord Rudra, who is the greatest among all gods. Thereafter, the content of this Upanishads proceeds as the unity of Lord Shiva and Vishnu, trio aspects of the soul, that is soul, supreme soul and internal soul, trio embodiment of Lord Rudra, that is Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesha, removal of all vices by the worship of Lord Rudra, the nature of Para and Apara Vidya, learning, the supreme truth, Akshara, knowledge, and the destruction of world worship of Pranava for desirous people of salvation. The discrimination between the living soul and the God is imaginative, and the removal of agony and affection when exclusive Advaita. This Upanishad is most useful for removing the discriminant wisdom and enabling to know the exclusive wisdom, non-discriminant. The misdirected society as easily being seen may avail a proper lead by virtue of learning this Upanishad. It will certainly show them the path duly illuminated. It will certainly show them the path duly illumined by the non-discriminant rays of knowledge. The five Upanishads, that is Rudrahridaya, Yoga Kundalini, Bhasma, Javala, Rudraksha Javala, and Ganapati, enumerate the basic element of Pranava, Om. These are called the five great hymn for the offering related to the knowledge of Brahma, and these two have been called the great sentences of the Vedas. Sri Sukadeva saluted his father duly by bowing his head on his feet and asked him, O Lord, who is the exclusive God described by Vedas, and who is the God in which all gods reside? Kindly again tell me the name of God by whose worship all other gods will be graceful to me. Lord Vyasa replied on hearing this question from him, O Sukadeva, God Rudra is the God in which all gods resides, and these all gods are in the form of Rudra. The sun, Brahma, and three kinds of fire, Garhapatya, Dakshinagni, and Ahavaniya, are existed at the right collateral part of the Rudra. The goddess Uma, Lord Vishnu, and Soma, that is three divine powers, are existed at his left collateral parts. Lord Vishnu is the same Uma, and the moon is the Lord Vishnu. To vow before Govinda will be deemed as salute conveyed to Lord Shankara. The persons worshipping Lord Vishnu with sheer devotion, they too worship Vrishabhadwaja, that is the Lord Rudra. The persons keeping envy of Virupaksha, Lord Shankara, seldom attain the grace of Lord Janardana. The persons unknown to the form of Rudra too are unknown altogether of Keshava. Lord Rudra too is the seed form to the origin of the living organisms. And Lord Vishnu is in vagina form, which is the field of that seed. Lord Rudra too is Brahma himself, and whosoever is Brahma, he too is the fire lord. Lord Rudra too is Brahma and Vishnu, as also this world with fire, and Soma also is in the form of Rudra. All creatures in masculine gender are in the form of Rudra, and the feminine gender are in the form of goddess Uma in this world. The creation Srishti of all inert and sensitive is in the form of Rudra and Uma. The tangible world is in the form of Uma, and the intangible form of this world is in the form of Maheshwara. The harmony of Uma and Shiva too is called Vishnu. The harmony of Uma and Shiva too is called Vishnu. The persons saluting Lord Vishnu with sheer devotion attains to the Supreme Soul after thoroughly known to the trio souls, that is, the Soul, Supreme Soul, and the Inner Soul conscience. The Inner Soul conscience is Brahma, the Supreme Soul is Maheshwara, and the everlasting soul of all living organisms is Lord Vishnu. The branches and stems of this tree in the form of three worlds are spread on the earth. Lord Vishnu is at its fourth portion. Lord Brahma is the trunk, and Lord Maheshwara is the root of this tree. Lord Vishnu is in the form of work, Lord Brahma in the form of action, and Lord Maheshwara is in the form of cause. Thus Lord Rudra too has hold in the three forms to his single icon power according to the purpose. The religion is in the form of Rudra, the world is in the form of Vishnu, and the entire knowledge is in the form of Brahma. The scholar reciting the name of Rudra frequently attains the fruit of worship to all gods, and he becomes innocent and abandons all evil doings. Lord Rudra and the goddess Uma is saluted in the form of men and women respectively. Rudra is Brahma and the Uma is the speech. These both forms of Rudra and Uma are saluted. Similarly, salute is conveyed to Rudra as Vishnu and Uma of goddess Lakshmi. Similarly, salute is conveyed to Rudra as Vishnu and Uma of goddess Lakshmi. Lord Sun in the form of Rudra and shadow in the form of Uma is saluted. Lord Rudra and Uma both are saluted in their respective forms of moon and the stars. Two forms of Rudra and Uma are saluted, in which Rudra is the day and the Uma is the night. Further, Rudra as offering and the Uma as altar are saluted. Again, Lord Rudra as fire and Uma as Swaha, sacrifice, are saluted. Lord Rudra in the form of Veda and Uma in the form of Shastra, holy books, are saluted. Lord Shankara in the form of tree and Uma in the form of creeper are saluted. Lord Shankara and Uma are further saluted, assuming them in the form of smell and flower effectively. Lord Shankara in the form of meaning and the goddess Uma is in the form of letter, and both are thus saluted. Lord Shankara and Uma are saluted in form of linga and pita. Thus in the form of all gods, the Rudra should be saluted separately. I salute Lord Shiva and goddess Parvati by reciting these feet of hymns. Irrespective of living anywhere, a man should always do silent reciting of this hymn. Even if the man has committed the murder of a Brahmana, he too is exonerated from the evil so committed. If this hymn is recited by entering in the water of the river, O Shuka, all these mysteries are properly known when the sheltering place of all beyond the puzzles of the mind in the form of the truth, the pleasure, and the penance, beyond perceiving through the mind and the speech, the everlasting Supreme Brahma is duly known, because nothing here is distinct than the Brahma and everything is in its form. The knowledge, the knowable to learning learnings, that is the para and apara, are important for the devotee. In the scope of the apara learning, that is, in the scope of the apara learning, the Rik, Yajus, Sama, Atharva, education, Kalpa, grammar, etymology, rhyme, and the astrology are existed. O the best hermit, besides the topic of soul, this learning contains all kinds of knowledge pertaining to the wisdom. The para learning has been called, restoring to which the self realization is obtained. That element of soul is everlasting. That element of soul neither is seen nor entertainable. He is beyond the name, the complexion, and the clan. He is beyond the eyes, perception of eyes, ears, and the hands, as also the feet. He is omnipresent, everlasting, omniscient, most micro, and free from all kinds of defects. He is the origin place of all creatures. The learned persons always watch that element of supreme soul in their own conscience, inner soul. That Brahma too is the restoring place to all learning, Vidya, and it is omniscient who knows all about the past, future, and the present. This inert and sensitive world has been originated by the penance of knowledge in the form of the cereals, food, and the enjoyer, Bhokta. As the snake is perceived or likely in cord, this world, as it perceived, is similarly existed in the Brahma. The man duly known that the immortal Brahma is the truth attains to the position of emancipation. The worldly cord can be cut out only by application of the knowledge, and it cannot be sheltered by the activity. Hence, the devotee should visit regularly for acquiring the knowledge before his teacher, and who is loyal to Brahma and well known to the same. The teacher should preach the para learning, making to understand the absolute form of soul and the Brahma to such devotee. The devotee introduced or realized to that later Brahma, Akshara Brahma, existed in the cavity of the heart, attains to the everlasting Shiva, after setting aside the hard blend, not of the ignorance. The devotees desirous of emancipation assume it as the supreme element of soul worth knowing. The pranava is said above, and the soul is said an arrow. One should, setting aside the giving up of the laxity and luxury, hit at the aim of the Brahma. Alike the arrow penetrating the target aim, the devotee should also engross himself in the entity of Brahmas. The target of Brahma is omniscient. The arrow in the form of soul mounts from all sides, and in case the archer, that is devotee too, is omniscient, he definitely hit at the target in the form of Shiva. The supreme soul, at whose ever holy abode the sun and the moon seldom are illumined, but the wind god and all other gods cannot access. That supreme soul illumines in the form of pure and intangible one when due attention is made by the devotees. The two birds, that is the living soul and the god, reside in this tree of the body. The bird, in the form of living soul, enjoys the fruit of action, but the god is only observer and seldom enjoys the fruits of action. The god is illuminated only as an evidence, and it seldom enjoys the fruit of action. The discrimination between the living soul and God has been made on the basis of illusion, Maya, as the Ghatakasha and Mathakasha. Two are national kinds of the ether, the kinds of supreme soul of living soul, and gods too are based on imagination. The living soul in the form of Sid actually is the apparent Shiva. The difference between the living soul and the god is perceived only due to discrimination of the size and the level of Chinmaya, but there is no difference between the nature of them. In case any discrimination between the nature would be their form of mind then certainly destroyed. The differences found mind to mind is not in the form of the size of Chit, but it is national due to inert caliber, name given to it. The discriminant view in itself is full of inert because the mind holds the equal nature at all places. The unity of the mind is confirmed by the device and the proof both. Hence, the person duly known to the unity of mind neither falls to the prey of agony nor he is fastened with the ties of affection. He is fully exonerated from such ties. He, after arriving at this state, attains to the element of Shiva in the form of giving exclusive pleasure. The God in the form of truth and Chidghana is sheltering place to this entire universe. The learned persons determines as that too is I myself. I myself is that supreme soul, and thus make them free from the agony. Those persons only can see in their conscience that self illuminated and all evident God as a result of long penance, whose vices and evils are fully destroyed. But the persons engrossed in the illusion of this world always remain denial of perceiving that supreme flame. The great men, full of knowledge to their soul, do not rotate around the cycle of birth and death, because at that stage those become yogis of higher accomplishments. As this entire ether always remains stable and seldom moves, the learned person duly attained to self-realization does not move anywhere. The scholar, definitely known to perfect Brahma, Parabrahma, makes himself stable in the form acquired by him as a result of sheer penance, and he himself is called the Brahma in the form of Satchidananda, the state of supreme pleasure and truth. Iti Rudrahridaya Upanishad Samapta. Om Tat Sat.